Hello, giggly witches. How are we
Hi.
doing? It is episode 33, which is
Woo!
crazy to me.
33. Look at us.
33. Look at us. It's as
Who
old
would have
as
thought?
you. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh my God.
Um, so today we have a fun Q&A listener questions episode coming at you,
Woohoo!
coming in hot, I
Coming in
guess.
hot.
And yeah, but this will be our last episode of season 1.
Woo! Season 1.
Hooray! 33 episodes was a good cutoff for us. And that's all, folks. No, I am moving, so things are really chaotic and I'm very overwhelmed. And then
Yeah.
Sadie is basically just partying for the next 3 weeks. So
Not 3, 2, this week and next week, Carnival.
third week is
But
recovery
I
week.
probably
So
will need a
yeah.
recovery. So yeah,
So
3 weeks.
um so we're taking a little break until
Yes.
we
Little
get our shit
hiatus.
together. Yeah.
But we'll be back.
I
So
see.
do
I
not
don't even want
fret.
to call
Do
it a
not fear.
hiatus because hiatus is like what all the boy bands call their little breaks and then they never get back together.
Okay, it's the off season.
It's the off season. RIP One
What do they call
Direction.
it when it's in between seasons of like a television show? Is that the off? I don't know. What do they call it?
A
I've
break.
never
I don't
thought of
know.
that before.
I never thought of that either.
On a
Somebody that
break.
works in entertainment.
Somebody tell
Okay.
us.
They like this is what's your take on this? Were they on a break or were they not?
Um, I mean, I think like there's like technicality in these situations, and then there's like, okay, but come on,
Yeah.
be real. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Like I think there's so like because I feel like I've been in situations where I'm like, what do you mean you think that was okay? And it's like technically it's okay,
Yeah.
but that's what I think about it. I'm like, okay, well, like technically you could say that,
Technically,
but like
yeah. Technically, then it's also fine to rob a bank. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? I think for me, I'm like, there was no conversation. There was one sentence said, and then you stormed out and
yeah.
left. Like, there was no conversation had, which to me, I'm like, well, then, you weren't in a on a break. Like, you had a
I don't
fight,
even
and
yeah,
you're
I don't even remember the
immature and didn't know how to
specifics.
have a conversation. like,
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
but anyway, that could be one of our silly goofies. I don't really have any right now.
Well, I thought some of the
Oh,
questions were kind of fun. So we're just gonna have a silly goofy time all over the town and everything.
okay. I'll share one silly goofy. Have you seen how they have to I don't know what the
They
rules
put
are now. They have to
recording things
write
on
on
them. Yeah.
the cups now. And
Yeah.
one girl, I got one on my way home driving home from St. Augustine and
Yeah.
they drew a whole jellyfish. That was kind of cool. This
Love.
one, I'm on a really high symptom day today. Like I'm kind of really struggling today. And I I went to the doctor's office, left, and I was like, I deserve a treat. So I got a matcha and she wrote, "You got this." And it wasn't even like they had seen I did the drive through. So it wasn't even like I came in.
Yeah.
It was like they could see my face. Like they were like, she needs help today. Um and they were like, "You got this." And I was like, I do got this.
I do got this. I know I got when I was in Colombia, I got Starbucks like one time and it said like you are divine
Oh,
and like
cute.
it said something cute. It was like you are divine and special or something in Spanish. I was like,
I am divine and special.
you. Yeah. I was like, that seems kind of like witchy and spiritual. How did you
Yeah.
guys know?
So I
How
love
did
that.
you know? We
Yeah,
got
it's
witches
been
back there
fun.
being like, this is the message this person needs today.
Yeah. Did you see there was one there was one I saw on TikTok, whether it was real or not, I don't know. I choose to believe it's real because I think it's really funny.
Yeah.
But they wrote on the whole thing, it was like a venti cup so that it would fit. And it was like, my sister had a baby.
My sister had a baby.
It went through the whole speech. And I think that's so funny. Oh my
I
God.
love
For those of
that.
you that don't know, it's from Shark Tale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's it's relatively happy. What is it? Like it's like the way
And
you said it. He doesn't have any arms and legs, but but it's relatively
it's
happy.
relatively happy.
I did learn though, Starbucks is so smart with their marketing because everyone wants to take a picture of their message
Yeah.
and post it. And I heard this. I don't know if it's true, but I heard that they were encouraged to spell our names crazy so that we'd be like,
Yes. Ha ha ha.
how did they mess up my name? Why is it spelled
Yeah.
like that? But
A
it was like
marketing thing.
a marketing thing. So we would all take a picture and post that we had Starbucks, and then someone would see it and go, that sounds good. I'm gonna go. I mean, it's
Yeah.
genius.
Yeah. I saw
And
that
now everyone
too.
wants to post their special messages, which,
They were like, they're on
no.
to us with the names. And also like
Yeah.
everybody orders online or just like ahead of time or like
Yeah.
they just
Yeah.
type
Yeah. Yeah.
out
Yeah. They're like,
their
we need
names.
something.
Um, so now they're like right on it. Very cute. I love it. 10 out of 10. Good job, Starbucks.
10
You
out of
got
10.
me.
Little
You
treat and a
got me with
positive
that one.
affirmation. What
You
more could it
got
go?
me with that one.
You got me there.
All right. Well, should we just get into it?
Yes. Okay, I want to start with a question because I think it's a fun, silly, goofy since that's how we start.
Okay.
Okay. So, any witch, I'm going to say witch or wizard. Any witch or wizard,
Or
historical,
wizard.
fictional, etc. Who would you be? Or like who would you swap lives with? Or like who do you relate to most? Like who is you and why?
Man, I wish I knew this question beforehand.
Yeah. That's why it's a Q&A episode. We do it on the spot. You gotta.
You do it first. You go
Okay, I did
first.
think about this. I did think about this. There was a couple I would like to be the answer.
Okay.
But I think my final answer, and you have to hear me out on this, I think it's Neville Longbottom.
No, that's a great answer. You know, in Family
Because
Feud, okay, can I tell you, I always do this and no one knows what I'm referencing and they think I'm just being a weirdo. But you know, on
yeah.
Family Feud, how somebody will answer and everyone goes, "Good answer, good answer," and I do
We're
it
gonna
all
do
the
that all day
time.
today.
Yeah,
Good
good
answer.
answer.
Good answer. Oh yeah, the families are like encouraging each
Yeah,
other.
yeah. I do it all the time and everyone's like, "Thanks," and I just like, you don't get it.
Because when I was younger, I was awkward and scared, and then I had a glow up, and now I'm hot and cool. And I feel like that's Neville Longbottom.
Yeah.
Because he grew up, he had the glow up of the fucking century. I've never seen such a glow up.
I know. I think I
I'm
remember
like, that's
seeing
me.
like the maybe like the director or whoever it was, but they were like that was like a really unexpected turn of events in our casting process there because
I mean, I remember like the movie that it switched, and like everybody. I mean, I feel like the first time he came on screen, it was one of the last ones. We like all the women audibly gasped. We're like,
like who is that? Yeah.
not only is, I guess, spoiler alert, but does he like save everything?
Yeah.
But he's fucking hot doing it.
Yeah. Seriously, so funny. I I don't know. I think like huh, I'm trying to think. That's such a hard there's so many options.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Think about it out loud. Who are you thinking?
But like
Who do you relate to?
if we go to who do I relate to?
Hmm.
Oh my God, I love Alphaba
Yeah.
so much. I feel like she's got a real like combination of Aries Aquarius energy, which I have because she's
Mm-hmm.
like very hot-headed.
Hmm.
But then she's also like a power to the people, like rebel against everything,
Yeah, yeah,
which
that
is
is
very
very Aquarius.
Aquarius. So, and that's like my big three is all Aries
Hmm.
Aquarius. So I really love
Love
that.
that.
Um, if we're going for like my favorite, wizarding movie, that's Harry Potter. And I
Right.
would love to be as smart as fucking Hermione. She just knows
I
everything,
was
thinks of
gonna
everything.
say,
She's so prepared. And
yeah,
I love
because
that.
you want to study everything so thoroughly
Yeah.
and everything. I was gonna say Hermione would have been
Yeah.
for you. And
Yeah.
also, I'm a that Luna Lovegood because I'm a bit of an
I
airhead sometimes,
love
but I
Luna.
surprise you with my genius at
Yeah,
the
I
same
love
time.
Luna. I think Luna's definitely got Aquarius energy too.
Oh
She's
yeah, for
so
sure.
weird and just
Yeah.
like very, I love like airy, and I love that.
Yeah.
I do
Yeah.
love Luna. She's one of my favorites in um that whole series. But I think like every time I see something about Harry Potter like zodiac signs, I think the Weasley twins are actually Aries. So I love that.
I love them too. They're very silly,
Yeah,
goofy. If
very
we were
silly
together,
goofy.
we'd be the Weasley twins.
Yeah. I don't think I can I like they're a little
I
too
can't break the
unserious.
rules.
Yeah, I can't do that either. So
Very
that's
scared to
where
be.
we would draw the line.
Yeah,
But
breakers.
I would love that. I would love to aspire to be that level of rule
Yeah.
breaker.
I would be trying to date one of the Weasley
Yeah,
twins if I was
I
at
think
Hogwarts.
same. And then we
Yeah,
would
that
both
I
be
think.
there like, but you can't do
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
but I'd actually secretly love that they were like rebellious, but
Yeah.
I'd be stressed about
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's a good question. That's a
Hmm.
good question.
I knew we were.
Um,
I could have just said like which Harry Potter character because I knew we were probably going to go there,
yeah.
but I wanted to keep it open ended.
I I know I'm trying to like think about like every witch or wizard that I've ever seen. But
Yeah,
I do love I think probably Hermione. I would love that kind of like knowledge brain. Because it
yeah,
also sticks in her brain. Like mine, I feel
yeah.
like it goes into my brain and then it goes into a compartment somewhere that I don't remember.
If I read things, I think we've talked about this before. If I read things, I'm pretty okay,
Yeah.
but
If you listen, I can't.
I listen.
I know
Like
I keep
here,
listening to this book on Hecate and I've tried twice now and every single time I get like a third of the way through and I'm like,
I
what
know I
is this
wish
girl
I
talking
could
about?
learn from audiobooks the way I can from reading them because you can listen to audiobooks on 1.5. You can do other stuff while you're listening, but I just
Yeah.
don't retain information the
Yeah.
same way.
I
It
don't
annoys
think
the shit out of me.
yeah. And then it'll like I'll hear something. It's like a dream to me. Like when you
Mhm.
don't remember your dream when you wake up, but someone randomly says something like later in the day or 3, 4 days later, and you're like, oh my God, wait, I had this. And then that's how
Yeah.
audiobooks work for me. Like it needs to be like
Oh
a
yeah.
triggered memory.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like hypnosis and something triggers it in your
Yeah.
for your brain.
Yeah, exactly.
I now that I'm in Brazil, like they speak Portuguese, not
Yeah.
Spanish, and, which is frustrating. Poor me, but it's frustrating because I'm like starting to get so in a good rhythm with Spanish from being in Mexico and Colombia, and then I come here and nobody speaks English at all, and like I'm with someone that speaks a little bit of Portuguese, so they're trying to teach me, but I'm like, you can't say it to me. Please write it down. And they're just teaching me the simplest words. I couldn't tell you right now. I mean, I know how to say
Yeah.
thank you, but that's because I looked it up and read it on my phone. And I was
I
like,
need both.
I don't know. And they've told me 800 times and they're getting frustrated. And I'm like, bro, I told you I'm not gonna
Thank you.
ever remember these
Yeah.
words unless you write them down. Can't
Yeah.
do it. And
I think
you're
I
not
need
the
both when I'm learning. Like I need to read it and then I need to hear somebody talk about it. And then
it's hard with languages because I can read it like I can
yeah.
read and understand a ton of Spanish if I'm like reading stuff like
Yeah.
menus, absolutely no problem. Can read directions, whatever. Talking to me, I'm like getting better, but it's like hard.
Yeah. Wait, I just thought of a really good example of this because I'm the same way in Italian.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
a few years ago when I was in Italy, we were there on tour and we're in Milan. And so they're not as like tourist friendly there, I feel like, as like Rome and things like that. But
Yeah.
still, it was great. There were a lot of people that like I would speak Italian to. They would speak Italian back to me. So that was like really exciting. They didn't like hear my Italian and be like, we could talk in English.
Yeah.
So that was good. But then there was one girl I asked where the bathroom was, and she gave me the directions in Italian. And I was like, right, okay, I got this. I ended up in their like downstairs basement. I was really scary down there, and I was like, this is not right. This is not where I'm supposed to be. It was so scary. And then I went back up and then I like listened to the direct, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like went through the
Yeah, yeah,
directions
yeah. You
again
like
in my
played it
head.
back.
And I was like, all I had to do was go straight and to the right. Like that was and she
You
probably
went on
like
this
watched
whole
me go
side
down
quest
the
down the
stairs.
winding stairs
It
and
was
the
really scary down there. It was like dark. There was like a creepy statue. Like it was really scary. And I was like, this is
yeah, I
not
mean,
where I'm
you're
supposed to
so
be.
old. If you go down into dark corners and basements and
It
alleyways,
was
it's
so
very scary.
scary.
It's haunted everywhere.
Yeah. So that's like the perfect example of that where I was like, right, right, okay, I got this. It's like, no, literally just go straight to the right. That's all they needed.
Oh my God, that's so
Anyway,
funny.
okay.
Okay. Okay, hit me with one of your questions that you've got on your end.
Okay, I feel like this could be another like good kind of silly goofy.
Okay.
Um, because this is from Renee and she asked, how did we become besties?
Oh,
So I
you
thought
want to
that was a
start?
good one. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so
How did
this
you find me?
Spirit Sis when
Oh
you were on
yeah.
that podcast. So I listened to
Yeah.
Steffi's podcast.
Hmm.
Um, and I was just like, oh cool, like she sounds cool. So I follow and I think she mentioned like Goddess Hangs. So I started
Yeah.
listening to Goddess Hangs. And then um so then I just like followed you guys. And then I think you I can't even remember. You posted something, I think it was about um what's your 9-week program again?
Activate your magic.
Activate Your Magic. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh, that sounds kind of cool. Like, I'll see what that's about. And so I signed up for that. And
Hmm.
then that was like, I think we might have talked about this in one of our episodes where we talked about when we didn't listen to our intuition, but I was moving and
Mm,
I was really stressed. I was in a place where I really, really didn't like because it was so weird. It was like one of those like weird like landlord loopholes that they throw you, you know what I mean? Where like
yeah.
in my lease, also where it's the year I moved in there in 2022. Like it's the year of 2022. Okay? Why are we still smoking
Yeah.
inside apartment buildings?
Who's like a
So
neighbor?
yeah, so in my lease, it was like obviously no smoking. And I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, like obviously.
Obviously.
And then I moved in, and the lady next to me used to chain smoke all day long. And finally, I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like everything I own, it got to a point where it was like, I almost didn't even notice it, except for that it would like
Yeah.
trigger my asthma and like all these things. And then I almost didn't notice it until like people would come over and be like, ew, it reeks in here. And then I got to a point where I was just like, you got to let me out of this lease. I cannot do this anymore. Like, I cannot be here for another 6 months because I'd already been there
Yeah.
for
That lady must have lived there forever
so
when it was like
long.
normal. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they like tell her to stop.
Yeah. And they were like, well, it's not in her lease. Like, this is something we're newly implementing, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, you got to let me out of here. And I like did the whole thing. I got a note from my doctor. I like was like, they were
Yeah.
like, she can't breathe. Like, the whole
Literally.
thing. So I moved in. I finally was able to leave that, moved in with a friend. And now I'm like just like stressed. And I'm like, I gotta find a place to live. So I'm not like in her
Yeah.
space for so long, whatever, blah, blah. Anyway, really long story short, all of this is going on. And I'm like, yeah, let me activate my
Sign
magic
up.
during this time. Let me sign up for this 9-week course right now. And then I found another house. It was in a great location. I was really excited about it. And it wasn't like perfect or necessarily everything I was looking for, but it was good enough. And
Mm.
like it was like on the lower end of my budget. So I was like, that's
Mhm.
great. All these things. There was this little piece of me though that I was like, this is not like I know something is wrong here. Something is really like not good about this place. But I'm
Yeah.
probably just I brushed it off, like you always do. And
Yeah.
like when you don't listen to your intuition. And so I moved into there, started Activate Your Magic, and then I was literally there for 1 week and I broke the lease and I was like, you have to let me out of here. Like it's fucking terrible in here.
What was wrong
Oh
there?
my God, what wasn't wrong what wasn't wrong? The AC didn't work. They didn't tell me that, like, they were like, oh, we have an AC unit. Didn't tell me it didn't actually work. But I didn't even think to be like, does it
Yeah,
work?
if you bring up the AC unit,
Like,
it should work.
does
What?
it work?
Well, that's just for you to look at. We didn't say
Yeah.
it was for cold air.
Yeah.
We just wanted to note that it existed
Yeah.
there. It was
There
sitting there
was
to look at.
there was like the tenants before me had like a rug in the carpet, in the rug in the carpet, like a rug in the kitchen that they had their
Mm.
like dining table over. When they took the rug away, there was a whole part of the floor that was like the whole kitchen was like white laminate tile. You know what I mean? Like just laminate. This whole section was like a 5 block green block tiles. And I was just like, how was this the fix? There was, it was just, it was insane. The kicker was when, and that's like scratching the surface. Like there was
Yeah.
a whole, like the list of things wrong is like this big. The thing that sent me over the edge was that I hadn't bought like laundry machines yet. And so
Uh-huh.
before I put them in, there was just like, I guess, a hole in the floor because that's like where it goes, I guess.
Yeah.
I was on the phone with my aunt. Um, I was on the phone with my aunt. Also important to this story is that it's a duplex and there's like 5 guys living next door who like started telling me all of these things that they would like complain about and all the things and I was like I basically moved in and they were like, good luck. It
No,
was
you are
like
not gonna like it here.
I was like, oh no. So then there's this hole in this floor. I'm on the phone with my aunt and I hear something. And I was like, it was probably nothing. It was probably nothing.
What was it?
And I hang up with her and I'm sitting there on this couch like this because I'm like, if I don't move, I'm like praying to God it's a fucking ghost. You know what I mean? Like I'm like,
Yeah.
please,
I hope
please
this
let
was
it be a
sponsored.
dead person. Like please, please. Like I'm just like, let there
God.
be. I would rather physically see a dead person. You know what I mean? Like I would, because I know what to do. That I know how
You're
to.
like, that's in my wheelhouse.
That's in my wheelhouse. That I could do. So then I all of this is also answering how we became friends. This is
That's why we take the bus to Tangent City.
yeah. So anyway, really,
All
really long
aboard.
story short, it was a rat. It was a rat this big, Sadie. It was huge. I scream, scream on the top of my lungs, run outside,
Wait,
run over to the boys' house.
for the listeners that aren't watching, how big compared to like another
Oh,
animal?
it was like the
Like a
size of my
cat?
forearm. It was huge.
Ugh, I'm physically gagging.
Yeah. So I run outside and onto the boys' side and I start banging on the door. I'm like banging, banging on the door. I've met these men twice now. And then, like, and the guy, one of them like opens the door, like clearly was asleep. And I was like, you gotta help me. Like, it's like, you gotta help me. And so he like takes a huge like brick and like covers the hole and all the things. And I call my friend Mel and I'm like, you gotta let me stay at your house again. I can't be here. And so now this is move. So I moved out of the one house
Yeah.
and then into this house and now again out of that house. So this is now move 3. And then I was at Mel's house for a little while and then I finally found the house that I'm in now and have been for the last like year and a half, which has been great.
Yeah.
Um but I basically just stopped doing activate your magic because I was like, you're great. I'm going through it. Like, this is not, something's wrong here. Like, I am not having a good time. So,
Oh my
anyway,
God.
that's a background on how we first started working together. And then
I
later,
did not know any of this.
yeah. I was just some random person that signed up and then like dropped out of your program, like
Yeah.
stopped showing up. Um, and then maybe that must have been,
Like a year and a half
yeah,
ago or 2 years ago, year and a half ago.
year and a half ago. Yeah.
I think
So
I
this
did
is now
that.
like 2023, like the
Oh,
end of 2023, and you started posting about the business mentorship so that we
yeah,
would
because
start
when
in
I
the
first
beginning
got
of
to Bali
2024.
was the last time I launched Activate Your Magic, and that was like at least a year and a half ago.
Yeah. And then you started posting about business mentorship stuff. And I was like,
Mhm.
well, now that I'm settled, start doing that.
And that's when we really connected because we were
Yes.
meeting one-on-one every week for 4 months.
Yeah.
And every week we had an hour, but we'd progressively stay on the call like longer
Yeah.
and longer because
Yeah.
we'd just be like, oh, we have to focus on
Yapping.
this. We'd just
Yeah.
be like yapping away. Um, and then yeah, at the end of it, we were both kind of
So,
like, oh, I think we're friends now, right? I was like, oh, we talk so much, we should have a podcast. Watching Pam's reaction. And here we are. Here we are.
yeah. So that's
And
that.
then
That's how we got
fall, we met
here.
in St. Augustine. That was the first time we got to hang out in person. And then I was
Yeah.
just in Nashville, and we've just been having a silly, goofy time ever since.
Anyway, moral of the story is listen to your intuition
Yes.
and I'm trying to think of something else funny to say, but I can't think of it right now. But it's just listen to your itch. I was good on the intuition to sign up for Activate Your Magic, but wrong
Hmm.
time. I needed to
Yeah.
I needed to not be moving 4 different times in the
Yeah.
process.
Fair enough. Fair
Fair
enough.
enough.
Fair
Um,
enough.
but that oh wait, what was I gonna say just now? Oh, I was like that kind of leads to a different question too. Um, but yeah, so that's kind of the really long version of how we became friends with unnecessary background.
I love it. Basically, we were, oh, 111 on my computer right now. Um, Not the time. Anyways, just a
Oh,
different
I
number.
was like,
Because you know the episode we went deep into my time blocks, and I put a
yes,
time block for Giggly, and it's not like a set in stone time block, but it says 1 hour 11 minutes
got
left.
it.
Even though we can go over that, but anyways, we were internet friends, and now we're in real life friends and podcast friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
um, okay. We also had someone ask how to find like-minded witchy friends. So I feel like that kind of leads in to
Ooh.
this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to like I feel like I've made all my witchy friends on the internet pretty much.
I think so too.
I would say like I mean like I've had so many people that like we've worked together, and then after we're done working together like we become friends after that because like I don't know, you just when you meet with especially people I work with one-on-one, like you just get to know each other really well, and
Yeah.
everybody's so cool and stuff, right? So I think like since I've been doing this for like 5 years, and I've done like Discord communities, and I've done Telegram community. I've just had a lot of community spaces and stuff too that were like at some points like created free spaces and stuff.
Hmm.
So like I like created those, but I'm like trying to think also when I lived in LA, like I would try to go to like I'm pretty I like I know it's so weird we've talked about this before that I'm like kind of shy, but like I'll go to like sound baths or breathwork class, or and I know if you're from like a more rural area, like that stuff might not be as like available. Like LA is pretty like got a pretty great spiritual
Yeah.
um but I would just see if like if you are regardless where you are, like look, if you're looking for like quote like IRL friends, like I check the like meetup website like while I'm
Mm-hmm.
traveling sometimes, especially when I'm by myself if I want to like do a hike or something because I don't want to like hike by myself.
Yeah.
Um and LA always had like a lot of spiritual stuff there and that stuff's usually like free or donation based like tarot circles or like just I don't know like random stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
I think too,
yeah.
like you can use glamour magic for that. Like you
Yeah.
could use glamour magic setting the intention that like you're like attracting this type of person, this type of friend, this type of like
Yeah.
people into your
Yeah.
life. Um,
Manifest.
and then, but otherwise, I say the same thing. Like most, well, the friends that I've made in Nashville kind of were just like by chance. Like I just kind of, the house that I lived in 2020 to 2022, um, my roommates, we didn't even like talk about it beforehand. Like I just found them on Facebook and that's how like I found
Oh,
the
wow.
house.
Yeah.
Um, and just like very randomly one day we started talking about, I don't even remember how it came up, honestly. We just started talking about it. And then my friend Steffi, who I was living with, um, was like, oh, like I actually have a friend, her name's Hannah, and she's a medium and she does all these things and blah, blah, blah. And that's then how I met Hannah. And then like, Steffi,
Yeah.
Hannah, and I all did witchy stuff. And um,
Yeah.
so that kind of all happened by chance.
Yeah.
But
I would say like take like if you have a witchy book, if you've got your tarot cards, if you've even got like a notebook that's just kind of got a witchy vibe
mhm.
on like the cover, like go hang out at a coffee shop by yourself and have that stuff out and visible. You know, like
Yeah,
I haven't made like lifelong friends that way, but I've definitely like if I see somebody like reading like a witchy book, like if I've read it before or something, I'll just be like, "Oh my God, like I love that book." You know, like that even though I don't usually like approach people because I'm shy, like if I see someone with a book because I'm such a nerd about books, like I'll like stop and like say hi, I'm
yeah,
like, or like I take my tarot cards out to like restaurants sometimes when I'm eating by myself. I'll pull some cards and like usually like the waitress or like someone else sitting there. It's all it's always a girl. But they'll be like, "Oh my God, you read tarot? That's so cool." So it's like
yeah,
I haven't necessarily it's been when I'm traveling, so I haven't like made like for good friends, but just like being out and visibly witchy or
yeah.
keeping an eye out, like setting the intention to notice that around you, that's a good way too, I feel like. Like if you see something,
If you see
go
something, say
compliment it.
something.
You see something, say something. I was about to say that. I was like, I feel like that's like I can't remember what that's from, but I feel like it's
It's like
something
a
like that.
national security thing. Like if you
Yeah,
see
like I
something,
feel like
say
I feel like
something.
it's something
But
scary. You see someone with a witchy looking notebook or be like, oh God, cute notebook. Where did you get it?
yeah,
Like whatever.
that's
Are
like the
you
easiest thing. Yeah.
like? Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I feel like kind of like if you are getting more comfortable and like being like more like outwardly expressed as a witch, like with reading your witch book in public or your tarot cards or whatever. It's like put your little bat signal out and let people know
Hmm.
like, hey, I'm a witchy spiritual girl. What about you? Where are you guys?
Yeah. Exactly.
That's a good
Yeah.
way too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because there's more of us than we think, I think.
Yeah.
But it is something that we still kind of have that witch wound where we're a little hesitant to always show it, you know?
Yes. I think the like, I mean, this I think goes with anything, but the, sorry, you just said witch wound, and that's why I thought of this. But the hateful
Yeah.
voices are always louder, but it doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily mean that there's more of them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Wow. Exactly.
quoted Pam.
Pam.
Pam Newhart, February 25th at 1:26 p.m. But really, like with that witch wound, it feels very like strong and
It can
scary
be more
for uh,
How you feel?
so
Yeah.
many, and that doesn't have to, like, the witch wound doesn't have to be something spiritual. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like being a woman. It's more like a
Yeah.
woman wound. Like it's just
Yeah.
um
Exactly.
so anyway, any hoozles,
Any hoozles?
what's your next question that you got?
Okay. How do you bounce back when you've been feeling really disconnected from your magic or your practices?
Ooh, great question. Thank you for asking. This
So glad you asked.
um my like number one go-to is to ground myself.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
first step.
Mm.
And then I don't, it depends on, I think, like what your vibe is at the time, like what you're trying to reconnect
Yeah.
with, if that makes sense. You know what my
Yeah.
aunt pointed out? Sorry, Tanti, I'm outing you on this. She was like, don't say it that I said this.
You're
I'm
like,
outing you right now because my mom and I do it all the time. But because after we say anything, I didn't even realize how much I said it until my aunt said it. But I guess my mom and I say it all the time. We'll say something and we'll be like, do you know what I mean? And then,
oh, I
yeah,
say,
you know,
you know?
that makes sense. You know what I
Or
mean? I say it
there's
all the
another one
time.
I hear myself saying when I watch stuff back sometimes. What is it? Um, it's something similar to that, but
Yeah.
yeah. I didn't notice you did that.
I just did it again and I was like, damn it. And now I'm so like hyper aware of it. Sorry, Tanti. Literally yesterday we had this conversation. She was like, don't say that I pointed. I'll cut this part out. No. Anyways, um, I think it depends on your vibe, but definitely grounding, I think, is the first step. If you could put your
Yeah,
feet on the
like
ground,
literally, quite
literally,
literally.
yeah,
Yeah.
touch
And
a
if it's
tree.
winter, you can go touch, yeah, put your hand on a tree
Yeah. Um, or even like
or touch, hold a leaf like a
hold a
symbol.
leaf, like if you got plants, like talk to your plants, like even just like
Yeah.
taking a shower,
Them, yeah.
or like having a bath, like things like that. And then even if you just have like a little tea light candle, just
Yeah.
like
Just something
lighting
like
that, something
slow.
really small and low effort.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think when I'm feeling disconnected, it's usually because I've let like my like little habits slip. So
Mm-hmm.
typically if I just do, even if it's like a couple minutes, like some tapping or meditation,
Yeah.
I know I'm a broken record with that shit, but
No.
it really is like, um, because when I get out of sorts or like when I'm traveling by myself now, I'm really good at it. I do it every day, whatever. But then as soon as I'm like with people again, I'm like, well, I don't care. And then I'm like, why do I feel agitated today?
Yeah.
Why
No,
do
I'm
I
only
feel wonky?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
only laughing because maybe an hour ago when I got home from like being exhausted, going to the doctor's appointment, running some errands, and I was just like, ugh. I literally heard your voice in my head that was like, do your tapping. Don't forget to do your
I
habits. And I
love
was like,
that.
it's like
I love that. No, but this
but
morning
it's
for me
real.
too,
It's so
though,
true.
because I like woke up and I was feeling sort of like I wanted to just write some stuff, get ahead of making some posts and emails and whatever. I really wanted to do that today, but I just like woke up feeling like there was not a word in my brain. There was no
Mm-hmm.
inspiration. I just felt flat, like not bad or anxious or anything like that. I was feeling like good. I just felt flat. Like there's no creative spark in me.
Yeah.
And
No thoughts, head empty.
there was there was not a zip, nothing. And I'm really excited about like launching Freedom Fast Track right now.
Hmm.
So I'm like, I want the content to flow because I want people to, by the way, take the quiz. It's in the
Yeah.
show notes. What's your biggest block? So I can send you the first steps to untangling that and going. But um yeah, so I was just kind of feeling like annoyed with myself because I like,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't have anything. And then I was like, well, I haven't meditated or tapped or journaled in like 4 days since I've been
Yeah.
back with my friends. So maybe that has something to do with it.
Yeah. I think too, like also when you're so used to being in your own space and now finally someone else is in it, you're like,
Yeah, like it's
yeah.
the best thing. I had
Yeah.
a really hard time. Like not even like like we're both working, but
Yeah.
it's like it's hard for me to like yeah, like getting like the creative flow or stuff
Yeah.
whatever. Um but yeah, I'm like, "Oh, wait. It's like it's like I'm a newborn baby when this happens every time. I'm like, it's not, I'm never going to be creative again."
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I'm just
Yeah.
at the mercy of the muses. I have no power. And then listen, something in my brain goes, the same voice that probably talked to you went, well, I don't even think it's me. I think it's one of my guides or it's my mother.
Yeah.
She's like, you could tap. And
Yeah.
I was kind of sheepish. I'm like, oh yeah. And I literally did like a 4 minute
Yeah.
talk with Brad about like seeing the end result and like having motivation to like keep going when you don't.
Yeah.
It, which I'll send to you. It was a really good one actually. But and
Please
then like,
do.
what do you know? I sat my ass down and I like
You know,
loved the post I
yeah.
wrote and wrote some emails to get scheduled. And I was like, that literally took
Huh.
four
Yeah.
minutes my morning to be like, oh my God, creativity is flowing through me. You know,
Yeah.
like it's so crazy how we can feel so disempowered. And it's like we
No.
can tap back in. And sometimes it's harder than other times for
Yes.
sure. I've had the past month I've been struggling with anxiety and I've gotten frustrated that my usual tools aren't like hitting like they used to. So I experienced that too. It's not always as easy for me, but
Yeah.
I was laughing today because I was just feeling really sorry for myself. And then it was like 4 minutes and I was like back to
Yeah.
life.
Reanimated.
But yeah, so when I'm feeling disconnected, I was yeah, tapping and meditating for sure. And then I think in a more witchy sense, because those things aren't necessarily like my mindset isn't necessarily that those are my like witchy things, even though they are.
Hmm.
Um, but since I like back in the day, I was such a little candle fiend, but since I've traveled now, you know, for
Yeah.
a couple years now, I've had to, it was
I'm off
actually
the
really
candles.
hard. Yeah,
I've
I
been clean
have
three
them,
years.
but I literally carry around a pack of candles and then I'm always too afraid to use them because I always burn stuff. But
Yeah.
anyways, one, I do have incense that if I have like a little balcony, I'll like burn some
Yeah.
incense. To me, like fire energy is like really, really helps me connect.
Yeah.
Um, but I'll also like I'll make my coffee or if it's later and I'm feeling disconnected, I'll make my tea and I do that little like spell that we talked about in the mundane magic episode.
Hmm.
And that always just makes me feel like yeah, something like tangible where you're kind of like you're doing a ritual.
Using. Yeah. I feel like
Like
using your
it's
hands is really important.
yeah, that always helps a lot. Like something like that. Or even like rearranging, it's silly, but like rearranging my crystals on my little altar, like, or just holding my
No, yeah.
crystals like while I'm like working or like sometimes I'm like a little like penguin with pebbles. I'm like, gather, I'm like, today I want to like,
You know
work with
what to
these.
do.
I'll bring them over to my little work spot instead of where they usually are in the little
Yeah.
corner. Oh, these are my working crystals today, like little things like
Yeah.
that. And crystals are very grounding too.
They are
So
very grounding. But you know,
yeah.
I'm only laughing because you know what I always do is I'll do that and then I forget that I have them in my lap and then I go stand up and then it's just like
And they're like,
um but no, literally moving things around
yeah,
like
because it breaks up the
moves around the
energy.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also I wanted to say this because I do this and it felt I don't know if somebody else needs to hear this or something, but um about tapping even if
Mm.
you're following somebody else's tapping,
Yeah.
if everything that they're saying is not like completely resonant, sometimes I just switch around the
Oh,
sentences to work for
yeah,
me.
same.
Like
Same.
that's okay. Because to me,
Yeah.
like at first I was like, I think
Give
what
it
was
to
it?
everything
What were
back.
we doing? Oh, we were cropping a photo, and I was like, no, that's illegal. Like I can't. Like I can't.
No,
It
I
felt
my brain does the same
yeah.
thing.
I'm like, it feels like
Yeah,
no, I
that's
have to do it
illegal.
exact. Otherwise, it's not
Yeah.
real or like it's illegal.
Yeah.
It's not whatever. It's fine.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to do this one, like Gala Darling tapping. That's in one like a program I bought like a long time ago. But it's like about manifesting, and she says some specific things that I don't want to manifest
Yeah.
or I just don't agree with. And then yeah, it took me like years of doing that where I was like, oh, I could just say things I
Yes.
do want to manifest when I say that one.
Yeah.
Duh.
Duh.
Like
It's
if
so
you're ever doing one
silly.
of my guided ones, you can switch words in it, you
Yeah.
can fill in the blanks. I try to make them kind of more general for that reason to kind of
Yeah.
like but yeah. That's a
Yes.
great point, Pam. Thank you for bringing that up.
Literally only within like the last year, I was like, oh yeah, I can say
Same.
things that relate
Yeah,
to
we're on the
me.
same track with
Yeah.
that. Once I learned that I take things very literally, I began to realize that I can take things less literally. I have more self-awareness about it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm not gonna die if I change the words or
Yeah,
be
I won't
arrested.
go to jail. Yeah, that was what I was gonna say. They
Straight to
won't they
jail.
won't come for me if this
I'm
happens.
hearing the sirens. I said, oh, I knew it was illegal. Wee, wee, wee.
Literally.
Bam. Put your hands where we can see them. You're tapping. You're like, ah. So
So
sweet.
silly. So,
Oh my
so silly.
goodness. That was a great question.
That was a good question. Um,
What's
okay.
your next?
Sorry.
I don't know why we're laughing. I'm just in the energy.
Let's see. Okay, I really actually loved the way she worded this question. It's another one from Renee.
Thanks,
Um,
Renee.
and she said, how did you get into the witchy realm? And then the part that I really loved about it was what led you and what kept you. Right?
Ooh,
I read it and made the same reaction.
goosebumps. That's a great
Yeah.
question. Ooh, okay. Mm, I think like I think what led me definitely, I mean, when I was really little, I was always very like weirdly spiritual. I think I've talked
Hmm.
about this before, but like I grew up Catholic and like I always felt a lot, but I also had this like there was just the classic like Catholic guilt associated with it. And so I felt so like torn and stuff. So in like the spiritual sense of like witchcraft, like I think from a very, very young age, like I felt a lot and I felt I don't know, like I wanted something from my religion that it wasn't providing me, but I was
Yeah.
always trying like to
Yeah.
connect with. But then in a more like playful witchy sense, I was so obsessed with Harry Potter from like a
Yeah.
young age. And like literally was like, I'm pretty convinced my Hogwarts letter is coming, was devastated on my 11th birthday, classic. So I think like from in a spiritual sense, like like whatever path I was led down, like there would be a spiritual essence in my life. And then there was like being obsessed with Harry Potter and all that. My mom was also very, she grew up Catholic, raised me Catholic, but she was learning Qigong energy healing. She was
Mhm.
always meditating. She never said anything about like being a witch, but she was very intuitive. She was psychic and she was basically a witch. She was into homeopathic, so she knew about like we never took regular medicine in our house unless absolutely like necessary.
Necessary.
Like she healed us with herbs and different things. She just had
Yeah.
it all in her brain, She was like an encyclopedia with that stuff. So my mom was also kind of witchy, so that was part of it. And then um, but then ultimately as an adult, like coming to it fully, I think like after my mom passed, it was about 4 or 5 years later.
Hmm.
Like I was really mad at like God or the universe at first, normal reaction.
Yeah.
But then that was also kind of classic, but like a domino to like me kind of coming back to spirituality. And I think I kind of floated around in just sort of like the spiritual world for a little bit. And then when I kind of like found the witch community, I was like, oh, this is it. Like,
Yeah.
this is my spirituality. This is where I want to be. This is where I feel safe and happy and connected. And like I can start letting some of that old like guilt programming melt away. And I think what has kept me here is one, I had a really great um mediumship mentorship where she was
Hmm.
very like open and like always saying things like take what resonates with you and leave the rest, and this is how I see the spirit world, but there's lots of ways to interpret it, and like just core sort of like was so like inclusive and welcoming, and it kind of like shifted my brain chemistry of like, oh, being a witch is like, yeah, you can be part of groups, covens, there's Wicca and there's different things that are more like structured like a religion, but like to me, being a witch is like deciding for myself what resonates with me, leaving the rest, and vibing with other people that are also kind of in that mindset of like, Pam and I don't have the exact same way that we practice our rituals. I mean, our beliefs align pretty spot on, but
Yeah,
like we still like we don't practice the same way. We're not
exactly.
like
Yeah.
I feel like there
And that
can
doesn't mean that one is right or wrong.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
there you can still definitely find communities in the um more like I don't know what's the word. You can still find like communities and people within the witch community or other like more like open-ended spiritual communities that do still have like fear and guilt and
Hmm.
shame type programming within them, probably because they were raised in religion and whatever. But I think at least what I've found within this space is more open, welcoming, inclusive. Yeah, bring your like it's kind of just like, yeah, cool. You do your thing, I'll do mine. We can vibe on what we connect on, and um yeah. So I think what's kept me here is just like I just think being a witch is so empowering. We don't need some dude with like a little collar to talk to God
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
It's like
There's,
no,
yeah.
we are connected. We can talk to God or whatever word you want to use, the universe ourselves, and we can do our own rituals. We don't have to sit in the pew and watch the ritual happening from afar. And I don't know, it's such a beautiful, yeah, I don't know. I just feel a lot of like love, and it's the most connected I've ever felt. And since I was really, really little, I like yearned for that connection. Like I felt it so strongly, but I couldn't quite like put the two wires together, so to
Yeah.
speak, get the call to go through, and like I found it here. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. There's this there I can't remember who the comedian is, and if you know who I'm talking about, then please fill it in. But there's this comedian who talks about being Catholic, and she's like, well, you the Christians, they have a direct line to Jesus. They are allowed to have a direct line. Being raised
Yeah.
Catholic, they're like, no, you're not allowed to bother Jesus. Here are hundreds of saints that you can contact about any given issue. There are these angels. There are these like there's all these people that you go to. Then you go to Jesus.
Right.
Like, you don't bother Jesus.
And only men.
Yeah.
That's what I don't like.
Anyways,
Well, among many other things,
among
but
many other things. um, yeah,
yeah,
no,
what
that was
about
a
you?
good answer. Good answer.
Good answer. Good answer.
I yeah, I think there was like such a disconnect for me where like between like television and reality where I was
Mm.
like watching things like Harry Potter where I was like that
Yeah.
feels so real to me. Like that,
Yeah.
like it felt in my bones. I was like, that is my
Yeah.
world. But
Yeah.
I was a human. I'm a human. I was. I am
I
a
was,
human.
I was a human and then I became a witch.
And then I was reborn as
As
a
a
witch.
witch.
What's that from? I don't remember.
The Love Witch.
The Love Witch. Okay.
One of
Anyways,
my
um, so I don't know, it just never felt quote unquote like it was a real possibility.
yeah,
You know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
And then honestly, until I moved into that house with Steffi and then I met Hannah and I was like, oh, these are like real people. Well,
Yeah.
also when I growing up, like my mom isn't really like spiritual or anything. She wasn't really
Mhm.
raised in any religion or anything like that. I don't even know why though, but she like was very strong believer in mediumship. So,
Hmm.
uh, I don't know. I was really young when she did her first like mediumship thing and like
Uh,
started talking about it. So that was like my first introduction to it, but I didn't understand, didn't get it at all
yeah.
until I got a little older. And then I did my first mediumship reading in 2020.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know, it was kind of crazy, just little things here and there, but I was so like, I'm not gonna give him anything, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
2020 was when I got my first one too. Yeah.
ooh.
Crazy.
And I don't know, it was just kind of crazy. But so that was like I guess my first like toe dip into it. But
Yeah.
other than that, it wasn't really until like there were like real people next to me that like I knew.
Mhm.
Um and then I kind of just dove more into it and somehow randomly ended up like on Witch Talk, on
Mhm.
Witch TikTok. And then um I was told how evil witchcraft is. And it was like from someone that I like trusted and blah, 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 and all these things. And so I was like, oh, I don't really know enough about this. So maybe I'm like wrong here. I don't know, kind of thing. And then it just kind of got to a point where I was like, this feel like I'm so like once I learned about it, it felt like a switch. And I was just
Yeah.
like that same thing that you were describing. I was like, oh, this is it. Like this is
Yeah.
it. And then
Yeah.
I got turned off from it again because I was like, well, I didn't trust myself and
Yeah.
whatever, fill in the blank. And then anyway, and now we're here.
Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely had times that old guilt programming being taught I was evil. That's even to this day, sometimes that thought will enter my brain and I'll be like, am I wrong? And then I'm like, now I can very quickly be like, no, that's literally crazy. You've
Yeah.
never felt so like safe and happy and full of love than like in your witchcraft practice. Like
Yeah.
that's I also, when you were talking, I was just thinking about how, like, because I first was introduced to like the concept of manifestation, and I thought like
Mm,
this is so cool and whatever. Um, and then I just still felt like I felt like I was like, there's something missing here that like it's not quite hitting for me, it's not quite working. And then the first connection I made was that when I was taught manifestation, I wasn't really taught about the role of intuition. And that felt very magical to me to bring intuition into that. And that's kind of like the first thing. And then I brought it into like starting to do rituals, starting to bring that, and that being like the means through which I opened up my intuition. It was like do the ritual to manifest, open up intuition, action, you know? And
hmm.
so that was also kind of the path too, where like first I learned manifestation, but not in really a spiritual, magical sense, sort of just like, I don't know, like
In a
mainstream
sciencey way,
manifestation.
yeah.
Yeah. And then I connected to that, like for me, the missing piece was like there was not a discussion around the role of intuition. And then I
Hmm.
brought the rituals and stuff into it. And that's like how Activate Your Magic was ultimately born because I was like, I feel like the way I was taught manifestation was missing these things that make it way more fun and for me more powerful. And like that doesn't necessarily mean that that's the way for everybody. Like, you know, you don't have to be a witch to manifest, but I think it's more fun. And yeah, it just brings out like spiritual, like really like sense of connection for me into the things I like desire in my life. It keeps the excitement going. It keeps the, I don't know, there's like a spiritual meaning involved. And so there's like a naturally more like motivation underlying that. So that's another aspect to it too.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Good
Good
question. Good
question.
answer.
All right. How long have we been? It's been about an hour. Do you want to do another one?
Yeah. Okay. I don't actually know my answer to this, but I thought this was an interesting question. What's something you used to believe about your spirituality or about witchcraft that you no longer vibe with?
Oh, that everybody knows more than me.
Oh,
Not saying
yeah.
that I now I know, everything or more
Yeah.
than other people, but it's just like I used to trust them so much more because I was
Mhm.
new and I was like, well, these people have been doing it for a long time, so they must be right. Like this
Mhm.
must be the way to do it. This must be the right knowledge. This must be fill in the blank.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think trying to think about this a little bit more. I'm like, oh my God, I was at the beach. I'm so salty and sandy. Sorry. Distracted.
In senior year of high school, for the last like 2 months of the year, you like intern somewhere. And I
Yeah.
interned at like with the gym teacher in the elementary school. And one of the other gym teachers, it was just kind of crazy because they were all there like when I was younger. And then now they're like treating me like an adult. And it was always just so
Yeah.
funny. But one of them, I still use this to this day. And I don't say it a lot, but it's just sometimes it pops out. But she used to, when things like really sucked or like things were really hard or there was like a shitty situation, she would be like, "Oh, that's so sandy." And then I was like, "What does that mean?" And she's like, when you go to the beach and you get sand in your bathing suit and it sucks and
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable and it's hot, like it's really,
Yeah.
it's sandy. That's sandy.
The sand here, the beach, I'm on this island and the beaches here are like so insanely beautiful. The water is like hot. It's like bath water.
Ooh,
It's
that's
like
nice.
insane and it's so blue and beautiful. But the sand is beautiful, but it's like that really fine
Mm,
sand
so it's like
that like
glass. Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can shower 4 times, you still have sand stuck to you. It's been in every crevice for days.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh. Okay, but something that I no longer vibe with. I think too, I don't know if I necessarily ever believed this, but I think it goes along with what you're saying about how like, oh, like I used to like trust what other people like quote knew or
Hmm.
thought or like valued like what they say over myself. I just think like I don't vibe with and this is not just witchcraft, it's spirituality in a general sense. Like I don't vibe with that there's like an answer, like
Yeah.
that there's like it's like there's not one right way to go about any of it, I don't think.
Right.
Obviously, there's wrong things,
Yeah.
like respecting closed practices, there's, doing things not from a place of like,
Hate.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, hate, evil, things like that. Of course, like not
Yeah.
in that sense, but I just mean like I don't know. I guess what I think about like how there's so many different religions and spiritual practices and different ways even to just be a witch. Like I feel like God or the universe, if we think of God as some guy in the sky, which is just really a metaphor so our human brains can comprehend it. But let's talk in that sense for a minute for this idea. Like I think, quote, he was like, I got to make a bunch of different ways to connect with me because all of my beautiful humans are so different.
Yeah.
They need to find the ways that they can connect with me the best. Like that's kind of what I think about that. And also like religions around the world that when they were developed had no contact with each other have so many
So many
of the same
similarities.
stories, beliefs, the core ideologies, they're all the same.
Hmm.
So it's like, yeah, I don't vibe with like, I think for so long, like being Catholic, I grew up when I was young, really worrying about like going to hell and
Hmm.
like, what's right? What's right? Like, this doesn't feel right to me, but I don't want to do
Yeah.
the wrong thing because I don't want to go to hell. It sounds really
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah.
And I think that I've been able to like really like release that and be like, oh, I don't think there's a right. There's not a right way. There's just like
Away.
that living
Yeah.
and practicing out of like it sounds cheesy, but like centered in love. And like if you
Yeah.
do that, if hell exists, you're not gonna go there.
No.
You're
Also,
not gonna get up to the pearly gates and he's like, well, you used to light candles on full moons, so sorry, we do not have a spot for you.
also,
You
here's the thing. If that's who's all going to hell,
no,
sounds
thank you.
like a good time.
No,
Like,
but yes, yes, please sign me up. I'll be a nice
sounds like
candlelight.
a good time. Um,
I was
like
looking at my TikTok memories that it says like a year ago you posted this or whatever, and it was someone had I think I had made a post about the full moon and someone had put some Jesus quote under it about how I'm going to hell or
Yeah,
whatever. And
sounds good.
I was like, okay, but like God made the moon, so don't you think he would be like, it's so sick how these witches love the moon because I made that.
Yeah.
Don't you think that was cool?
Yeah. I
I
also
think
like
like thank you guys for noticing how I arrange the stars and planets in a way. Thank you for noticing that they
thank you
affect
for
you.
noticing. Yeah.
Thank you for noticing because I put a lot of thought into that
Yeah.
actually.
I
And I'm seeing all these guys thinking they know what's going on and they're calling it evil because I put a lot of work into that.
yeah. I was actually just talking about just that kind of thing yesterday with someone. And um also the thing that I want to point out is that
Yeah.
if Lucifer rules over hell and is meant to punish everybody
Hmm.
that doesn't follow God, but he's his punishment for defying God
Yeah.
is like, why would he be punishing the people that was doing what he was doing? That doesn't make any sense to me.
There's a lot that doesn't make sense to me.
That doesn't make any
All
sense.
that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think me and Jesus are good.
yeah.
Also God and whatever's going on up there, around here, down there. I don't know. I think
Yeah.
it's all good
Yeah.
because I think it's really silly that someone would be like, yeah, like I got up to the gates and whoever's there is like, well, you used to shuffle those cards around and look at the moon a little bit too lovingly. So we do
Sorry.
not have to for you.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you were trying to help people, but wrong. Like, yeah, if I was cursing people every day, I could see, but
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, but no, I
No,
don't believe in that anyways, but
I don't buy it. Anyways,
buy it. You got any more questions over there?
I do. We can also save some for another
That's
episode.
true.
It's been a little, it's been a little over an hour.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, we could always talk forever, but I don't know
I
how
think
long you want to go.
that was a good Q&A run.
Yeah.
Thank you for submitting your questions. Keep an eye out for when we do this again. And don't forget, we're going on a break.
On a
I can't say
break.
that seriously. Yeah, we
Yeah.
were on a break
We were on a break. Um,
for two
yeah.
or three. There will
Yeah.
not be episodes, but don't freak out. We'll be back. And in the
Yes.
meantime, you can
Listen to them
revisit
all again.
old ones. You can send your favorite one to a friend. Keep up with us on social media. We're at Giggly Witches. You can find us on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, as well as Instagram and TikTok.
Hmm.
Um, Sadie, am launching the first group round of Freedom Fast Track, which is my program to clear the three biggest blocks that I've seen with every client pretty much over the years, which is fear, shame, and the need for approval from others. And so this is a program where we spend 4 sessions together, sifting through this, figuring out the core of these. It's shadow work, it's chakra healing, and it's inner child healing, all wrapped up into one. It's really incredible. I've spent the past couple months doing like dozens and dozens of one-on-one sessions with people that have had the most amazing results, which I haven't at the time of recording, but I'm gonna be posting them on my page soon. So you can go peek at that if you want to read what other people have experienced in this program. But this week, I am building up the wait list, and there will be an early bird deal, as I always do when I launch stuff. So all you need to do to get it on the wait list, go take my quiz, uncover what your biggest block is to true freedom in your life, the freedom to have, be, and do anything, have the most fun, be the hottest witch alive, all of that. Take the quiz and then you'll be on the wait list and you can get a really great early bird deal to come into the
Mm.
program. I'm so excited. This is like the most impactful, like the fastest I've ever seen people get results and the most impactful I've ever like heard of anything I've ever created over the years. So
Very
It's pretty
exciting.
badass. I can't wait to do this with more of you. Um, so the link's in the show notes for the quiz, and you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at I am Sadie Olson and Magic with Sadie on YouTube. What about you, Pamela?
Yay. I am Velvet Snake Oracle on TikTok and Instagram. I myself will be going on a break for the next couple weeks just because I'm moving in like
Hmm.
a, like 10 days basically. Um, so it's a little chaotic over
A
here.
little chaotic.
Little chaotic. I'm not gonna, I was like gonna turn my computer around so you can see my
Florida!
whole
Woo!
box corner, but I'm not gonna do that. Um, that's also why I'm on my couch.
Oh
Um,
yeah, you don't have the thing behind you. I was like,
yeah,
something's different. Something's
something's
different about Pam.
something's
But
different.
couldn't figure it out.
Um, yeah, so other than that, once I come back,
Hmm.
I've got my mediumship
Hmm.
readings. They're like development sessions, so they're on the cheap, on the low
And
low.
I had one and it was amazing. And it's extra hard to read for somebody you know. And Pam did an amazing job. So
Thank you.
book with her. It's crazy not to. Or else
Or else
you're not watching. We're putting our fists in the
me
air and
mugging. Yeah.
threateningly. Book a
um
membership or else. That's great marketing right there.
yeah.
Pam, everything she does. Just kidding. I'm like, and then you just look directly into the camera and you threaten
Little
them.
eye twitch, yeah.
That's how
Um
you get clients.
that's how it goes.
That should be fine. That should be fine.
And then very shortly after that, I'll start also doing the same kind of thing with astrology readings.
Woo!
Working out the final like kinks and details for those. I spent a long time talking yesterday to somebody about like my like mediumship mentor about it. But um anyways, before I start rambling about all kinds of different things, I got like a lot of things in the works. This ADHD manifesting generator over here is taking on a lot of things. So we're trying to one thing at a time,
Reel it in.
reel it
No,
in. Yeah.
do all the things, but one thing at a time to get them out
Yes,
into the, yeah.
exactly. So anyway,
You
cool,
got this.
fun things are coming. And that's that.
Like your cup. Full circle.
Yeah,
Brought it back. You got this.
I got this.
Woo.
Hooray.
All right. Thanks, Giggly Witches. We will see you in a few weeks. Have a
Yes.
great break. Bye.